from here was gone in one afternoon. It was the third largest city fire in the history of the United States. And to be able to look down now and see what is there and just try to imagine this as a total wasteland like the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima after the war is a pretty moving thought to see how far our city has come. In fact, we've had several evolutions of architecture. After the Great Fire, architects came from all over the world to pitch in and rebuild Jacksonville, and we were one of the most modern cities in the world. And then in the mid-50s and 60s, we had another revolution in architecture that is now called mid-century modern architecture, of which this building is a very good example. Also, you see the Gulf Life building is one of the best-known concrete buildings in the world, even outside Jacksonville. It's on the National Register of pre-stressed concrete buildings in the world. And the Hayden Burns Library and others are a part of the same architectural stream that is very much vulnerable. You know, people look at the Hayden Burns Library and say, that's kind of kitschy, and why should we save that? Well, 100 years from now, people who come to Jacksonville to see architecture will want to see the Gulf Life building, the St. James building by Henry Clutho, and the Hayden Burns Library. So watch out for that. So how do we save downtown? When I came to Jacksonville in the early 70s, I went into practice in optometry with my uncle on the 5th floor of the Exchange Building, 218 West Adams. And my uncle was a very garrulous man, and we would go out to lunch together, and it would take a half an hour sometimes to go 1 block because the streets were teeming with people and his friends, and he knew everyone. And he said, how was your fishing trip last summer, and how's your dog? But downtown was so much alive, and it was just a visceral excitement to be in a city that is teeming with people and things to do. There were at least 5 major hotels. There were 7 department stores, of which Ivy's was in this building. And shortly after that, with the advent of the shopping malls, Regency Square among them, the life sort of got fizzled out of downtown. So how do we bring it back? We can't make it back like it was, but those of you who are here understand the importance of saving the heart of our city. Every great city has a great heart. And so there are steps we must take and do it soon to have some hope of bringing downtown back to life. And I'd like to just talk about reigniting Jacksonville, restarting that fire that burned it down so long ago. How do we kindle that again? There are several big problems. Getting people downtown is core. Having people live here, having people shop here, come down here for festivals and fun. And yet there are several impediments, one of which is architectural. The 3 buildings that we call the Laura Street Trio, the Marble Bank on the corner of Laura and Forsyth, is framed in a very unique architectural configuration by 2 early skyscrapers. In fact, the first skyscraper in Florida, the Bisbee building on Forsyth Street. And they look like bombed out wrecks. And any corporate executive who comes to Jacksonville to see our quality of life and drives down that street will realize this is a city that is questionable. The other thing we have to do is change Hemming Plaza. Every time I mention the word Hemming Plaza to my friends, they say, oh, homeless people. I mean, that's just like, a gut reaction. Well, there are some homeless people in Hemming Plaza. Most of them are not. Many of them are jobless. But those people have come downtown just like we've asked them to come down and enjoy the most beautiful park in our city. And so we need to change perception, but we also need to change the dynamic of Hemming Park. And so one of my big projects I'm working on now, and I want everybody in this room to go out excited and be willing to help, is to resurrect Hemming Park in a way that has not been envisioned ever. It was built as a passive park, was originally donated by Isaiah DeHart, the founder of Jacksonville, back in 1857. And then Mr. Hemming, in I think 1898, donated the statue, so they named it after him. And so that's been the sort of the cultural heart of the city. But it's always been a passive park where people sit and read the newspaper, or sometimes they have a big city event. But now we have an opportunity to make an attraction. Not just a place to go and sit or play checkers, but a place that you would want to come because it's so cool. And a group of us have gotten together recently, Downtown Vision, the Cultural Council, the Late Bloomers Garden Club, the folks at One Spark, with a vision of making Hemming Plaza a place of excitement. You know, when you go in Paris and walk down the street, They have those little tents and waiters coming out serving people a glass of wine while they listen to a guy play the violin. We're going to have that. We're going to have art. We're going to have art that changes in the park. The park is going to be an extension of the library where there'll be a little tent for reading. There will be an extension of MOGA where they'll have art in the park. There's going to be giant sculptures in the park. Every 2 weeks at least, we're going to have a festival in the park. I don't know if you've ever heard of Pogo Palooza. In New York, just a few weeks ago, they had the International Industrial Pogo Stick Contest, where these acrobats come from all over the world with jet-packed pogo sticks and do flips in the air. It lasted for 5 days, and people came from all over the world to see it. We could have that here. Wouldn't that be cool? You know what art cars are? Art cars are tricked out works of art that you can drive down the street. The most quintessential one is a 14-foot stiletto pink patent leather high heel shoe that you can drive down the street. And there are thousands of those, and they have art car festivals throughout the United States. We're going to have one in Hemming Plaza. In fact, we're going to have more skateboard competitions. We're going to have tattoo fashion shows. We're going to have fiddler contests, everything you can think of. Those folks down there playing checkers now, we're going to have a checker tournament, give them prizes, and get those big chess pieces this tall and have people standing around clapping while they're playing chess. We're going to know them by their first name. We're going to have an ambassador on a Segway that knows everyone in the park and that knows everything there is to know about Jacksonville, that will greet visitors. And when you come downtown from Ortega or Springfield or the beach, you'll come down there because it's one of the coolest places to go in downtown. It can be a place of excitement. The city just issued an RFP, that stands for Request for Proposal, for somebody to manage Hemming Park. And my group came with these ideas I've just described and about 100 others, and then we decided not to apply for the RFP because it was dead. It did not offer an opportunity to succeed. So hopefully the RFP is going to be rewritten. We tried to amend it. They turned down our amendments. But hopefully the city will realize that we've got to save the heart of the city, and the only way to do it is to make something exciting happen there. And the city hopefully will come back and rewrite the RFP, and a group like ours or somebody with even better ideas will come back and do it to make downtown a place where people want to be. And then when you get the critical mass of people, then you have more restaurants, you have a big box store is going to come downtown, maybe an IKEA or something that's a little bit unusual that people would come from all over to go to see. And one little stepping stone at a time will add that critical mass we need. We tentatively call the name of our project HART, H-A-R-T, named after Isaiah D. Hart, who donated the park. It's the Hemming Art District, H-A-R-T, and it's the heart of our city. And so we need to do surgery on our heart. And I hope you'll join me and push our city fathers, our city councilmen, the people who are in the bureaucracy who seem to be determined to keep people from having fun in this city. We want to have fun. Fun is the thing. Fun and beauty are what draw people together. And if we can do that, we're not only going to have a vibrant downtown in a few years. It's not going to happen overnight, but this is a critical building block that we need your support. We need to push for it. We need to push to make downtown come back alive and rekindle that fire that started in 1901. Thank you so much.